Excellent.
Okay, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. Tonight we have the business leader of OGMA. It's a Raleigh-based astrophotography equipment uh, dealer, if you will, or distributor. Business owner Juan Martinez is going to give us a rundown what his company is producing in the from the aspect of astrophotography, what his mission goals are with his company, and in general, what does it take to make astrophotography accessible to the general public. And so I like to give a warm welcome to Juan, and hope that does it. Just really short and sweet there. So he's already presented for the general audience of the Raleigh Astronomy Club. So here we are with the September imaging meeting, and just like to look at what his company is up to as far as specifically for us imagers. And so I guess that's yeah, that's pretty much all I have as far as an introduction, Juan. Yeah, you're a pretty accomplished guy. I know there's other things I could talk about you, but anyway, let's go ahead and let you take it away. So, if you will, let's see what you got.
Yes, yes. Thank you for inviting me again. We had a talk the other day at the club, and there I was telling the club a little bit about my personal journey and how the motivations that I had to start the business here in Raleigh. So just to recap a little bit, I've been very concerned always about delays that happen in science and how those delays impact the science that comes after. And for that purpose, and also because I'm an amateur astronomer, I noticed that the price and the cost of equipment was very high, and I decided to start the business in order to help bring down the cost and consequently allow more people to jump into this hobby that is quite a special hobby because it has a very scientific background, very technical background, and I think that it can encourage people to do more science and to create new inventions. So the company, basically, we are, as you mentioned, we are a distributor dealer of astronomy equipment. We have the OGMA brand, and we are always scouting for good equipment that we can commercialize at a cost that is more affordable than what is already out there. We test a lot of things. For instance, here is the camera is here. Here's a little guide camera that we haven't commercialized. It's one of the products that we've been testing, and we still feel like we're not ready to bring this particular product to market, and it could be for a number of reasons. It could be cost, it could be performance, it could be drivers availability. So there's a number of reasons. Basically, the product, we feel that we work with the product, we feel like we like it, we feel that it performs very well, and we can make a deal that allows us to bring it to market with a cost that is lower than what is already available. Then we will bring it to market. We will likely bring it to market. We not only commercialize products from other people, but are manufactured for other people. We create our own products. We have here, this is a tilt adjuster that we designed. And this tilt adjuster at the moment is only available for one of the cameras or for a type of camera that we commercialize. It's the cool cameras. You can connect this adjuster to the camera basically by replacing the front of the camera. There's a plate here at the front of the camera. You remove that, you put the tilt adjuster, and then you can control tilt from the back. And we find that we did some testing and we did some research, and we actually ran, I think at some point we ran a survey through the club, and we found that it was people liked the fact that they liked it when they were able to control the tilt from the back of the camera rather than from the front, because sometimes, well, you're astrophotographer, I probably shouldn't go too deep into that, but sometimes you have a lot of equipment in the front and you can just put an Allen wrench there to start manipulating the tilt. So if you can do it from the back, it's a lot easier. So we designed this tilter. We call it the O tilter. The company is OGMA. We call it O tilter, so that it was a fun name. And we're selling this tilt adjuster with the camera. We include it with the kit with the camera. That's a product that we designed. There is another. Oops, sorry, I have a bunch of stuff here. One of them fell. There is another product that we designed, and it's a very basic filter holder. There are, you have the filter drawers that are very convenient. You get the filter from the side, you slide it in, and this is super convenient. But we did some testing with people who were very new at astronomy, and we found that after they were working with it, at the end of the night or the next day when we look at the images, there were light leaks. And it was because those filter drawers, they usually click in with a magnet. And if you are not careful enough, you can leave it slightly open. And when that happens, you have a light leak inside. So we created this product. It's super affordable. It's very basic. In the case that you use one filter all the time, you can use this one and you're not going to miss anything, because when you're not changing filters, you don't need to slide in something in and out. So this one is very basic. I have one here inside of a plastic bag. This is how it looks. I have it inside of a plastic bag because it has actually a filter inside. I didn't want to remove it. But it's basically two parts that you screw one on top of each other, and inside you have the filter. You can remove the filter. And like I say, you put that there and it stays there. It's something that is not supposed to be for you to be changing every day. So if you're imaging with a light pollution filter and that's all you do, you keep it there. Very convenient, and it's super affordable. So that's another product that we designed. What else we have? We're also looking into filters. There is already one filter that we have that we include with the cameras. It's a UV IR cut filter. The cameras that we sell, we have the options when we procure the camera. We have the options of getting that camera already with a UV IR cut filter in front of the sensor. But we thought about that and we decided against that. The problem is that when you have already a filter in front of the sensor, if you want to use other filters, then you have different band passes and you have different shifts, and you have to consider how much this filter that is already inside of your camera is attenuating the light and all that. So we decided against that. All the cameras that we sell so far, they have only an anti-reflective filter in front of the sensor, just the minimum basic. And then we include with the package a UV IR filter, because you're always going to need it if you're imaging with a camera that has an anti-reflection filter. So we think that this filter complements the cameras that we sell, and at the same time it gives you the freedom of working with whichever filter you want. If you want to use a dual band filter, you don't have to worry about what the other filter inside your camera is doing, because our cameras don't have anything else inside. So that's another pro. We didn't design this one. We procured this one. We're bringing it to the market as well. We sell it already. What else? The cameras itself, we're selling currently two models that are very similar, of cameras that have the sensor IMX 571, and those are dedicated astronomy cameras. By the way, we always use this color for our brand as a way of differentiating a little bit. So our cameras have the two cameras that we're currently selling have that sensor, which we think that is probably one of the best sensors out there for astrophotography. We are also in the process of, we should have here within the next couple of weeks another camera that has a smaller sensor. Is the IMX 585. It's a sensor that is really cool because it doesn't have any. So it's basically the same sensor, 575, but smaller. So you have all the benefits, just that it's a little bit smaller, and therefore it's more affordable. These cameras currently they sell for $1,500-$1,600 the color version, $1,900 the monochrome version, and the one with the new one with the IMX 585 is going to be selling for $600 approximately. That's the price that we're targeting.
So Juan, sorry, I mean, that 585, that's something, well, I wouldn't say I'm 100% familiar with, but yeah, the first camera I ever saw that on your website when I first learned about you was one that's mostly similar to the ZWO 2600. So this 585 that you're talking about, I guess you're trying to trying to hit all niches of imaging by with the 585, going towards more planetary type of imaging. I mean, is that what the intent is there?
Well, I think that the sensor, so that's a good question. The sensor is smaller, so therefore it will be, I mean, not necessarily better for planetary, because you can always do region of interest in planetary with whatever camera you have. I mean, you can get this camera with a large sensor and do a region of interest, and you can do planetary. The problem is that if you're only going to be doing planetary, you're spending a lot of money for no reason, because you're not going to be using the whole sensor. So this other camera, the 585, of course, being more affordable and having a smaller sensor it will allow you to do planetary at a more affordable cost. But the sensor is large enough, it's 8 megapixels. It's large enough that it would allow you to do also some deep sky photography as well. So it's not necessarily a planetary camera. I think it's something like in between a truly dedicated planetary camera and a deep sky camera. So I think it's a step in between, and also the price that it has makes it more affordable for people to enter. One cool thing about this camera, it's really interesting, is that it has the other two cameras that we're selling, the IMX 571, they have a low conversion gain and high conversion gain mode. Those are two different modes of imaging. This camera has a third one. It's a high dynamic range mode, and there's some trickery that happens with the hardware and the firmware inside the camera that allows you to get a better dynamic range when you're using the camera. So we're really excited about this one. We're seeing a lot of interest. We opened, we put it on the website, and we are allowing folks to register there to be notified when the camera comes out. It should be out, like I say, within the next couple of weeks. And we are having there is a waiting list already for this camera. So
that's interesting. So a high dynamic range gain setting or gain mode is what you're saying. Wow.
yes.
So I mean, it's almost as this is something I actually visualized or thought about a long time ago and wondering if something sort of like that exists. I mean, in my mind, I don't know if this is exactly what I'm thinking about, if that's what you're making here. So it's almost as if like each pixel is like dictates its own amount of exposure time or whatever, or saturation of a signal or something.
I can give you all the details, and to be honest, I don't have all the details. There is a lot of proprietary work inside of these cameras, but the same way that you have other types of cameras and they have a higher dynamic range mode. You even have that in your phone, where you're taking multiple exposures at the same time and combining them to get a higher dynamic range. There is something happening inside of these cameras to allow you to get the higher dynamic range. But I'm sorry, I can't give you more details.
I mean, it's almost as if it goes back to the olden days as far as the term that was used before digital. It's almost as if the camera brackets itself, with a series of
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. Maybe I should look into the waiting list or something.
It's a really good. I mean, it's a really cool product. And one of the challenges that we're having, and this is something that, and I don't know to what extent I should get into this part or not, but one of the challenges that we have is that there's a lot of competition with astronomy equipment, and we're trying to stay very competitive. We're not extracting a lot of profit from these products. We're just trying to be enough so the business is self-sufficient, is healthy financially, and we can continue bringing more products. I think it goes hand in hand. If you're giving value to people, then you can capture value. So I think that goes together. I don't think if you, and this is my personal impression, as the way that I operate as in life, I don't think everything is about taking. You need to give to be able to take. So these are basically the products that we have now. We are also, and I mentioned this earlier to folks that as we were talking, we're in discussions to bring to market some narrowband filters and dual narrowband filters. We don't have anything solid right now. If you have opinions and if you have recommendations, suggestions, please send it. But we're really looking forward to bring some narrowband filters, because I think one of the barriers that we have as a astrophotographer is that we're struggling with a lot of light pollution. And you get out there, you try to take a photo, and your photo is white because of the amount of light pollution. So I think something that can help a lot of people get into this hobby and start learning this science is if they have more access to filters that would allow them to do the imaging and enjoy it, even if they live in a light polluted environment like most people live. So that's what that's what I have for today, and I'm happy to take questions if you have questions or yeah.
Okay, very good. One of the things that I was trying to, I mean, I feel kind of like a moron because I should have looked on your website first. So one of the things I found on your website a long time ago, and it just didn't hit me until now because I've been browsing it as you've been talking. So you showed us all your camera equipment, or not camera equipment, but your products that you're offering and what you have in mind for the future of other things that you would like to offer. Uh, so you showed us a tilt, for example, a tilt adapter to put on the front of your camera, and you had a unique way of mounting it to make it a little easier for you to adjust the tilt without having to take the thing off, adjust it, put it back on, blah blah blah. Yeah, it's all about being innovative in this kind of stuff. But uh, along those lines with the tilt, when it comes to like non-camera equipment, something I saw on your website was a someone who's working on a project for a harmonic drive mount. Do you think OGMA will ever get into anything like that? That's not necessarily camera related, but more so,
So
other kind of astronomy equipments that aren't not purely used for imaging.
I'm really glad that you mentioned that because and that was that's touching that's part of what we talk about on the last uh, conversation we had at the club. Um, we are proponents of uh, open source and DIY as a means to improve access to astronomy and to science in general. And as we discussed at the club in the previous talk, we made this section of the website available, the make section, where we are trying to curate and aggregate projects that are open source. And one of them is this harmonic drive equatorial mount that is really cool. We would love to get to the point where we can connect with designers of this type of products that we're listing, and we can tell them, look, we can produce the parts, we can come up with all the hardware, and we can put it out there and sell it, so people can assemble these harmonic drives and camera field rotators and things like that. I think that would be really cool, and I think it's not something that I think at the end this is going to be the future of amateur astronomy. At the end, in my opinion, there will be companies providing the parts and people assembling the parts with open source blueprints. If you look, for instance, to hobbies like radio control airplanes and things like that, that's how it works. So you have companies that sells you the little motor, that sells you the wings, the fuselage of the plane, and another company sells you the circuitry, and people put them together, and then they work with that. So I think at the end or in the future, this is what is going to be happening. There is opportunity for businesses to look into these designs, work with the designers, maybe paying a royalty to the designer. Maybe if the designer put it there and it's completely open source, royalty free, maybe they don't even have to do that. But there is business opportunity here, and there is creative opportunity, and I think it will be good for everybody. I do want to do that at some point. It's just time, and we're a company that is we're basically about a 1-year-old company. We're very small. We're like a 1-year-old baby at this point. I think we first have to learn how to crawl, how to walk, so that we can run. later, but I see this as the future. Yes.
Okay, well, that's very good. Does anybody else have any questions? Really, no other questions. Well, so, all right, so here we go. This, I guess, like a journalist or whatever. I'll give you a question to our guests that makes them uncomfortable but fair. So, Juan, here we go. Uh, you've done image. I mean, I take it that you've done quite a bit of imaging before you started this company, right? So I'm wondering when was the because we had an individual a long time ago who was he was in an imaging meeting, but he was a guest at an imaging meeting, and what he would do is take images of what were called nightscapes. Basically, you're just taking images of the Milky Way, or just something that's has an astronomy type of theme to it, whether it be like I don't know, the Big Ben clock over at Parliament in the UK with a lunar eclipse next to it, or whatever. And so, what I'm getting at is, I asked that individual at the end of the meeting, like I'm doing with you, when was the last time you looked through a telescope? But in this case, Juan, because you're showing us imaging materials, when was the last time you went out and actually imaged something?
Last week, and I'm looking forward to go tomorrow. I think tomorrow is supposed to be a very good night. I'm working on the Pac-Man Nebula right now. If you go to Astrobeam, this is another thing. I have done quite. I have done a lot of imaging. I just don't consider myself very good. Just honestly, I enjoy a lot when I get a text message from someone who bought a camera that sent me something amazing that they got. So in a way, for me, this is I experience that satisfaction. I can't do the images as good as they can, and I'm not patient enough. So I get it from the people who buy the camera. But if you go to Astrobeam, I have a few images out there. They are not the best. They haven't won any award, but that's the images that I have. One thing that I've been doing with these cameras, and it's part of me being lazy, but also part of what the cameras can do, is that for the past few sessions, or for the past few projects that I have done, I'm not taking darks, I'm not taking flats, biases, anything. I'm just taking the photo, making sure that the sensor is clean, making sure that my optics are clean, that there are not spots. I always do a shot to test if there is any spot, and I clean everything. And because these cameras don't have any amp glow, and because the optic that I'm using is really very flat, I don't take any dark, flats, biases, and I just jump into that, process my images. They look cool. I feel happy. I think I wouldn't be able to do it with a sensor that had an amp glow. That would be impossible. I can only do it with this type of sensor, and that's why I love so much these sensors, and that's why I only sell sensors that have zero amp glow, because I don't sell what I don't like to use. If it's not good for me, I think it's not going to be good for anybody. So I only sell things that I think are going to be good for me. And someone mentioned before instant gratification. Yeah, I'm one of the people who like instant gratification. I like to go next morning, get all the images, tag them, and start tweaking gradients, and I mean no gradients, tweaking the colors and doing all the processing. So yeah, if you go to, I may, so let me send a link to an AstroBeam. Let's see here in the chat. There is one here that is the M16, the Pillars of Creation. I did that one. I had to do that one under 1 hour. I did something the other day with the moon that was at the end of the night. It was really cool because let me send this one too. At the end of the night, I was imaging with a filter, a really expensive filter that is a multi-band pass filter. And at the end of the night, the moon was there, and it was I couldn't resist. I pointed the telescope to the moon, and I took a few shots. And then I realized, oh shit, I had a multi a narrowband multi-band filter there in the camera with the camera, and when I processed the image of the moon, I was able to bring some colors, and I'm wondering if this is something that I mean, if this is sulfur, hydrogen, and oxygen on the moon. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but it's interesting because that's what I was filtering. So that's the image I got. So yeah, not a great imager, but I enjoy doing it.
Well, your first attempt at Pillars of Creation is way better than what I got. So that's you got it from Bordeaux 7. So yeah, that's impressive as well.
And it was 1 hour. Don't forget that. With this camera, you can do something like that in 1 hour. And
well, what really impresses me with this image, though, is it's like I said, this is way better than what I could have done in my first attempt. But yeah, like you're saying, 1 hour, yeah, that's impressive too. But what really, drew me in as far as like looking at your stats down here on AstroBeam with the equipment. Look at your software. It follows along with the mission statement of your company, and
so, yes.
it's all open source.
Open source.
Everything.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I have to. I eat my own dog food. I don't. I'm preaching open source, and I use open source, and I would love for people to use. I think we should use more open source, and we should support the developers of the software that are doing open source. If you can contribute to them, $10, $5, whatever you can donate to them, you're going to be helping a lot. Those are people that are doing a terrific job, and their software works. Their software works. I have nothing against. I mean, people who use paid software or anything like that. I mean, you can use the tools you want, and you're free to do that. There's nothing wrong with one or another. But I think open source is getting better, and it's going to get better. Yeah. Thank you for noticing that.
Yeah, I mean, that's very important. I mean, you're driving the point home here, and I mean, I'm pretty old-fashioned guy. I still use quite a bit more. I mean, I'll go ahead and some of the people here that are attending the meeting, they'll roll their eyes until they fall out of their skulls. I still use Deep Sky Stacker, and I mean, I use the one commercial product processing software a lot called oh crap, I can't even think of it now, by Pleiades.
PixInsight.
PixInsight, very good. My God, wow, yeah, drew a blank there. Yeah, there you go. It tells you exactly how much I use it. So can't even remember the name. And so yeah, Deep Sky Stacker. There are times when when PixInsight, I mean, it just baffles me too much. I just go back to the basics and use Deep Sky Stacker. I don't even know if they're still supporting that, but I just like how you had this laid out here on AstroBeam with all the stats and stuff, how you tried to point home of what OGMA is all about, open source. So yeah, this is great. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have any questions for Juan? No? Okay. All right, Juan. Well, I really thank you for coming, and yeah, I enjoy your to see what will come out of OGMA now and in the future, and just given the small talk that we had before the meeting, and it looks like you're up and coming, and the fact that the other thing that I really like that you've done right now with the cameras that you have that you brought up, during this this meeting is the fact that you provide a UV IR filter for your cameras. Nobody's ever done that before, and I just really don't understand that. And then, but yeah, and it's nice that you install that separately, because they're way back in the day, in the companies that were making the first Astrocams, they already automatically put UV IR on it, because, well, that's what all the DSLRs and other consumer cameras that were not used for astronomy were doing. But yeah, thinking outside the box like that, that's something I think the world desperately needs, and people who are willing to seize upon that.
Thank you.
And show that there's more options out there, and if you just put the effort in there, you can get away with a lot of things without losing a lot of money, like we all do in imaging. So, so okay. Anyway, yeah. Thanks for joining us, and you're welcome to stay with us, because the second half of the meeting we go over what our members have accumulated as far as data and finished images. So with that said, second half of the meeting, here we go. Anybody have any images they like to share since last month?
I do. We've actually had some good nights.
Of course we do, Naveen. You always do. Very good.
I always try to. Doesn't always work out. All right.
Yay, Jupiter.
Over.
Ghost of the Moon. Dark Cloud.
Yeah, we'll get to that one. So this, I don't think this has a interesting name. I was at Three Bears. Must have been about a month ago. No moon, and didn't get as much data on this target as I wanted, but it's LDN 1200. Don't know that it has a fancy name or anything, but you can see the dark structure there. C8 reduced, and the ASI 2600 mm.
This was
Cropped.
C8?
Yeah.
Wow, this thing's tiny. Okay. Yeah, I see what you're pointing out there. I can barely make out the silhouette there.
Yeah.
You're talking about. So yeah, I don't know, what, 2 more hours maybe?
Yeah. Let me see. It was 1 hour total is all I got.
Okay.
So maybe tomorrow night. I don't know what my targets are going to be yet, but I plan on going out there. I'll announce the impromptu soon.
Very good.
Ghost of the Moon. Oh, I actually probably should wait for next month, but I didn't realize this is it's in Auriga, which is part of the Summer Triangle constellations. I was working on this.
You mean Aquila, maybe?
Aquila? Yeah, I don't know. It starts with an A. I'm terrible with names.
Yeah, it's probably Aquila. Auriga's back over towards the winter time.
Okay.
It's next to Taurus.
All right, thanks. Only 42 minutes on it, but it still is something kind of cool. And it was interesting, the individual subs. I can't remember which channel. This is RGB. Don't remember which one, but it's kind of like a crescent moon, like brighter on the bottom. I'm gonna have to go back and look at them individually.
So wait a minute, go back to that just out of
Sure.
curiosity. So you did this with a color camera? Is that what you did?
No. RGB filters on the 2600.
On the 2600. Okay, and this is a planetary. What did the I guess the blue look like? Because that's about where oxygen would be. I mean, well, somewhere between green and blue, but yeah.
I can pull up the master lights after I stop sharing and come back. Maybe we can take a look at it.
Okay, all right. Well, I guess continue with your slideshow.
So I played around with some planetary and lunar. I still don't really know what I'm doing, but this is better than anything I'd gotten before on Jupiter. I'm really hoping to improve tomorrow night. I was talking to Chris about recommendations for doing time lapses, so fingers crossed I won't muck it up too bad.
That was
And
pretty
I can
good to me,
actually
Naveed.
stay awake. Thanks.
Is that with the C8?
This is the C8, and I believe, think this is the 3X Barlow, which I probably
Wow.
won't do again, but I think it was too
Were
much.
these unusual seeing conditions for Raleigh that allowed this, or nothing
No, this is
typical?
pretty terrible from my backyard.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
one thing, I mean, do you check your collimation every time you go out or collimation for planetary when you go out?
I did check collimation that night, yeah.
Yeah. So that's something I always do. It's like whatever the longest focal length I'm going to be doing for planetary, I always collimate, and if possible, I try to collimate the brightest object that's straight above me.
Now, do you collimate with the Barlow in there?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I did
I
not
mean,
do that.
as far as I know, it's never. I mean, I've never had bad results because of that. But I don't know if doing it without the Barlow would make a difference or whatever. But
I wouldn't think it would, but I'll try it.
yeah, just saying. Words
Yeah.
of wisdom. Just saying.
Appreciate it. Several lunar things. I just panned around. This is with the 3X Barlow. It's a bit too much. This one turned out kind of neat. Hercules and Atlas, and then without the Barlow. This is Mortis. You know, I can't remember what these two are, but that's Hercules and Atlas again over here. That was pretty cool.
I think one of those is Copernicus. Not sure. Anyway,
I don't know. Mare Neck Terrace. And then there's like a veil, like a valley right here on the side. Veil Rita. And I heard there's like a trio of craters called the Snowman, but I don't think this is it over here. But it was really fun to pan around and just say, hey, I want a picture of that.
did you do a set through theirs? Is that what you said?
No, this was my backyard.
Oh, backyard. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if he'll be there at Three Bears, but yeah, Judd Lively. I mean, he just has the Atlas memorized in his mind, Moon Atlas. So he'll tell you everything.
And then the last one, Saturn. This one's probably the 3X Barlow as well. I'm learning that was pushing it too far, I think, but hey, live and learn.
Okay, very good.
Very good, Naveed.
Thanks.
Okay, anybody else? I see Mark there. He's got to have a comment image on him.
I have one, Chris.
Oh, okay. Go for it, Don.
All right. And let's see. Hit shared screen first. You go through this all the time.
Yeah, share screen, pick the window that your image is on.
Share. Yeah, did that come up?
Yep. Bubble Nebula. Beautiful.
Yeah, I took this on August 19th from my backyard, which is about Bortle 5. And it was with my Vernon scope 94 millimeter f6.8 with a ASI 294 Pro and a L Enhance, the up to long L Enhance filter. And it's 3 hours or 36 5-minute sub exposures at a gain of 180 and a temperature of -10. And it came out pretty good. I did clean up a little bit of red fringing, wasn't bad, using raw therapy, and with this filter it worked out quite nicely in that. And of course, if I had put more time on it, I would have gotten some more of the fainter red nebulosity. And but tomorrow I'm gonna image the Crescent Nebula from my backyard. I've tried that before and I had problems with my equipment, so using the what I have now, it's working fine. And the guiding during this exposure was actually quite good. I was surprised in that. But yeah, that's all I have.
Well, hold on. Before you take that off, so what camera was this?
The ASI 294 Pro.
294 Pro. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think you have that camera, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah,
yeah.
well, I mean, in the spirit of, I mean, I'm looking at your file name there, and so kind of like in the spirit of topic for this meeting with Juan Martinez here. Looks like you used GIMP and Deep Sky Stacker and what is it, Cyril? Yeah, there you go. So you all used all freeware there.
Yes, I end up using like 4, even like 4 or 5. That can be a plus or a minus because you're messing around, going back and forth, and you got to be careful. And that, and this is like an art. I'm constantly messing around. It's kind of like a watercolor almost. But
well, yeah, I mean, don't beat you up too yourself too much. I mean, a little off topic, but another member has been here for a really long time. Haven't seen much from him lately. Michael Fulbright. That's something that he always that when he first started in the hobby, he griped about. It was like, wait a minute, we're processing the hell out of these images, and it gets to a point where this isn't scientifically correct, and well, it's like, well, just fall in line, and yeah, yes, it is an art. So more so than science. Processing. Yeah, that's it. It's a technique to be learned there. That that's not very linear. It goes all over the place.
What I've found is over time is being when to push some things and when not. What's tasteful, and I mean, at some point, you can pixel peep and you can start to see stuff. I mean, I mean, it could drive you crazy. I mean, like it's almost, well, I need a better telescope. Oh, I need, my processing skills need to be better. It's just, but I mean, this looks good. So I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I would be happy with it too. I mean, I see what you're saying. Just like for example, on the lower left-hand corner of there, yeah, you have some nebulosity that's trying to show up there. You have a little blip of nebulosity.
Yep.
It's just left of center of the upper edge of the image there, and so yeah, I mean, there's a lot of possibilities here. So I guess if you can push it longer, with the ASI 294, yeah, it is a color camera, so light pollution is going to start to squeak its way in. Yeah, you probably could, make this look really nice. I think the only downside right now, if not necessarily me like criticizing it, is that I can't really tell here on Zoom what this looks like firsthand on your computer screen. But if there's anything I'm seeing here
Mhm.
that I guess you could look at a little bit, is looks like the places in the image where it's just black, as in
Yeah.
like, where there's no signal, there's nothing there. It's just actual, well, space, right?
Yeah,
It looks
and
it looks very flat. It doesn't
yeah,
look very, well defined, and that's probably because it's been denoised a little too harshly.
yes,
So,
and this is where I really respect Mark Lang's. He is able to make his images look natural, what more realistic in some ways, and he's doing it from more light pollution. So yeah, um, obviously the sky is not that isn't that dark, but I'm still tasteful. Again, not to on denoise, not to push it too much. But I see what you mean, and I could make adjustments on that, and that's a good point, and something I'll consider. Yeah, and that tweak a little bit.
Yeah,
if there's
that's the
something
art.
else very well said. Yeah, that's
I was going to say that
it's all about getting that technique right. Yeah.
yeah, you
Yeah.
manipulate the data and manipulate it just enough and not too much so that it still looks natural when you're done. But there's a lot of data manipulation in the end.
Yeah.
I
Nothing
think it's a
else,
great image,
Don?
Don.
Yeah, the other thing too is you can see there's a little bit of elongation, and this camera is 13.1 by 19.1 millimeters, and yeah,
Well, Don, you just shot yourself in the foot because I didn't notice that.
well, I do. Yeah, the other thing too, as I notice, is and with a lot of refractors, is the halo around much brighter stars, because you're stacking and you're more and more exposure, and I think we talked about this last time. There are ways you can try to subdue that in some cases by separating out the stars in the nebula and then recombining them, and that I don't use pixane sites or any super. I do have the software to pull the stars out and just have the nebula, what they call it, StarNet plus plus, and that. But yeah, yeah. I mean, I mean, anybody else has any other suggestions on how to process this? To make it. Yeah, it's.
I think you've done a good job, Don. The bubble is the main subject, and it looks really nice.
Yeah, I agree. Looks great.
And I might have pushed it a little bit to get the background red around it, but yeah, I mean, I did it. I remember processing it where I did kind of pushed it a little too much, and then I backed it off. I mean, this is the whole game. You're playing around with it. Doing this, doing that, and you finally come up with something that you think is okay in that. But
It looks amazing. I like it.
but
So, I mean, if you want some more criticism about it, here you go.
yeah.
You got a pretty thick skin, so it doesn't matter. But going by all your other images that I've seen, ones that stick out in my mind, because we're in the summer months here, so there's going to be a lot of nebulae to take images of, because we're right, the nighttime of our orbit going around the sun is focused on the core of the Milky Way. I mean, that's what's in the night sky right now, is what I like to call the Milky Way River, and it's just laced with all all these nebulae. Like here, you have the bubble nebulae, and I do remember that you had a pretty good picture of part of the Veil Nebula. So right here, yeah, I think this is the best image I've ever seen you have. But if there was anything that you probably would want to take to the next level here, is consider looking into shrinking your stars somehow. Possibly stars, subdue them just a little bit, and that way, there was one individual a long, long time ago when I was just learning how to really shrink stars. He said the whole point of shrinking stars is to get your subject matter to be the focus of your attention. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Another guy that once said that the reason why it is so hard to find Waldo in a Where's Waldo picture is because you have all this other stuff that's inundating your senses, and so that's a nice analogy that I would apply right here. Oh well, we see Waldo easily. It's the bubble nebula here, but we got all these other things that could make the bubble nebula more pronounced if we just subdue them just a little bit. So yeah, I mean, if you want criticism, there you go, Don. Take it to the next level and look into shrinking your stars there.
Here's the other thing too. You keep forgetting is I enlarged this by 1.3x, which is so look in regard to the stars in the background, it would probably look better. Not blown up, or I should have done something. Yeah, I agree. I'm going to try that with the separate the stars and then bring it back in, and that may make a difference.
You know what would be really cool to see is without stars. I don't mean that it will be the right photo, but I would be interested to see what is how would it look without the stars?
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I like some stars in there, but I think that's a great great idea. I think I'll do that.
Starless images, are really cool too. One thing that I do, I don't really do much in the way of starless images as far as like showing it to other people. I don't know, that's just me. But one thing. I've used starless images to actually look for things that I could actually probably bring out more that weren't there, because it's like I said, when you're inundated with all these little specks and whatever, and the whole point is to get all the little fuzzy wisps and clouds that are really faint in a nebula complex to show up. If you do a starless image, you can kind of see what else is there that you can either process and bring it out to make it more obvious, or what you can aim for next time you go out and say, okay, I need to add more data to this, or this is the area that if I can bring out this will make this image look go beyond just good to a spectacular image, not just your run-of-the-mill image of the bubble nebula. But Don, this is great progress. So good work.
Yeah, that's all I have. So
sorry, I mean, we dwelled on this for a while. So anybody else out there have any images they'd like to share?
I could do one, Chris.
Okay, always a delight. Let's see what you got.
Let me see if I can share screen here. Okay, I shared this on my website, but this is the first time here. One of my favorite clusters to observe ever since I started observing was NGC 7789 in Cassiopeia. And I had taken images of it, one of them here is back in 2010. But I recently went back to try and do a better job, I hoped. And I learned that there was a variable star just to the south of the nebula. So I thought, gee, it'd be cool to get that and see how it looks compared to what it did 13 years ago. And so I got my new image about a month ago and started working on them, getting them together, and then started blinking them. And lo and behold, I found the variable star I was looking for, which was WY Cas, which is the brightest one just below the cluster in the center. 7789 is the rich open star cluster in the middle. WY Cas is the blinking star circled below the star cluster. And so I was really interested when I started running the comparison from the old to the new. I found two more variable stars in there that were blinking. And so I circled them and thought, well, gee, that's pretty neat. So that's my contribution.
Oh,
That's pretty cool. Thanks. Mark.
amazing.
You're welcome.
Mark always brings the science.
Thank you. Was there a question there, or should I stop the share?
No, I have one question. Well, I mean, you can stop the share regardless, but have you considered looking for any other variables in here? I mean, it's so damn rich here, so I imagine there's probably at least another one in here somewhere.
I've looked at this field pretty closely, and there's nothing more here that I can find. But I'm now kind of aware of such things now, and I'll start looking for them more and more. You know, I just ran across this WY Cas thing by accident. And, you know, I had no idea, you know, up until, you know, a couple months ago that it even existed. So that's what brought it off.
Mm-hmm. So you're gonna look at something in like the winter night sky next, like somewhere in Taurus with all those open clusters, and see if there's something out there interesting.
Yeah, the trick is to have a comparison photo to flash it against to make sure that you know, it's interesting, because otherwise it's just another star field.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, you're a pretty prolific imager. Surely you have something out there, Mark. I mean, come on.
Do what now?
I said you're a pretty prolific imager, so I would think you would have something of every object out there by now. So
Yeah, but the question is the stuff that was taken, you know, greater than 5 years ago, how good was it? Is it worth even showing?
okay, yeah, valid point. Well, Pegasus is coming up soon, and that's where well, I keep forgetting the name of that proper motion star that you always like to get a look at. So we'll have that soon, right?
Oh, you might be talking about Bernard star.
Bernard star, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an Ophiuchus. So
Okay.
it's getting down
boy,
in the
do I
west
feel
now.
stupid. Okay. Okay. So did you get that this year already?
Yes, I did, but you know, that 18-year animation that I showed earlier this summer,
Yeah.
I didn't include it in that particular effort.
Oh, okay. Well,
But I did get the 61 Cygni stars moving across the sky. Those are in Cygnus. So
yeah, I remember seeing those.
thing that's cool about those is that it's two stars together moving. So it kind of brings a whole new, you know, richness to the idea that things move around, and sometimes together.
Do you know? Yeah, well, yeah, together. I mean, do you know if one of the stars is like moving faster, or the other one is going to overtake it like anytime soon? Can you like tell that over a few years' time?
I don't know, but I can speculate that they're a binary pair, and so they're
Oh,
moving
okay, so it
together.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay, well, unless they orbit upon each other in some fashion.
Hey, Mark, do you have a motorized focuser on your teleview?
No, I just use a Batten-Off mask.
Okay. I mean, I have a refractor that's even older than yours, that Brandon and Mike was saying he thinks he can help me jerry rig a autofocuser on that, because I use the ASI Air Plus. I think that's what you have too, right?
Yes.
Which I love, and with the iPad, I can sit inside the house now and and run the telescope. But I'm just wondering, because I know tomorrow night the temperature is going to drop quite a bit, and I was thinking maybe I'd after an hour I would kind of. I'm not sure how it would. I should probably get more familiar. There's a focus routine that I could probably use manually using the software in the Plus. But it would probably be just quicker to use the abandon mask and restart.
Probably.
And but I've been surprised how the scope, considering it's got an old Unitron focuser on it. I mean, I put it away for a month and a half, and then I set it up with everything the same, and it's in focus. I don't even have to adjust the focus, so I guess it's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway.
Okay, very good. Anybody else have anything to share?
Chris, I can show something
All
very
right.
simple. Let me see if I can share here. I was just trying out a new, the ASI Studio package has a way of doing stacking now for lunar and solar and things like that. So I tried it out. So I grabbed an ADI file I have from 2016 and ran it through there. It's a lot simpler to use than AutoStacker. And if you can see it, this is the result of just tracking 50% of a lunar surface image. And it does planetary and it does surface and solar and things like that. And it's very easy to use.
Is it freeware? Or I mean, is it free?
If you download the ASI software, I think it's free. And it has a number of different panels in it that can do different things. And so I just decided to try out the lunar one. I'd seen a video on YouTube of somebody using it, and it worked pretty well. I thought that this came out pretty nicely, because if you look at the movie that I took, you wouldn't see this kind of resolution at all. And so it's stacked pretty well. So it's kind of a recommendation for doing something that's relatively simple and doesn't cost anything.
Detail's really sharp. Did you have to process that afterwards, or is that just how it comes after it's stacked?
It came out.
Oh, wow.
So it's a good. And the other thing, Don, I took your bubble nebula. Is that coming through now?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. I took the stars out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really cool.
From a screen grab. There's a lot there. If you take the stars out and play with it a little bit, you're going to get a lot more of the redness in the image.
I'm wondering if I could, if you could, when processing and sharpen that up before you go back to put the stars back in.
Yeah, you can. I haven't done any sharpening or anything else.
Yeah.
The stars out.
Looks like the HAL 9000.
Could you zoom in a little bit?
That's yeah. So it's let's see. I don't know what it's. So zoom in on it. Yeah, so it could use a little bit of sharpening, I suspect.
Right. Here's the question is, maybe I should do this before I do any of the sharpening. Do you know what I mean? Or instead of doing it twice, I mean, that's going to add artifacts.
And like I said, this is a screen grab. So this is.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, yeah. Yep. Yeah.
The original file would probably be a lot better than this.
Yes.
So it's fun. It's fun to play with. But
yeah.
The tools. Yeah. Okay, that's all I've got, Chris.
Steve, I have a question back on your your other software you were showing.
Yeah.
Did it select any of the best frames, or just showed every frame?
It does do that. Yes.
Okay.
It said there's a slider and you can set how many frames you want it to try to work with. And I just put it on there. I think the default was 50% or something like that. And so that's what I did, but I'm sure you could play around with it some more. There are a lot of bells and whistles in it that you could use, but I see it's way simpler than AutoStacker, for example.
What is the name of the software again?
It's called ASI Studio. It's from CWO. It's one of their software packages. And as far as I know, it's free to download. I'm running it on a Mac, and it has PC and Mac versions. So there are other things in it that are useful as well. Probably some of it is what's in the ASI Air, or to be used with the ASI Air or something like that from the desktop. So it's worth looking at.
Cool.
Okay, very good. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to show?
I have a couple, Chris.
I thought you would. What's
This is
going on in the
Chipper's County, by
background?
the way. Let's see if I can do this
What's
on the
going on
phone.
in the background here? Where are you?
So I'm up in Virginia imaging tonight, so you might be able to see the car charging behind me. I'm not sure what's back there.
By that green light?
Yeah, the green light's the car charger. Yep.
Oh, very good.
Let's see here, screen. Got broadcast.
This is your first time doing it on phone?
Yeah. Can you tell? Let's see here. All right. So do you see an elephant trunk?
Yes.
All right. So kind of like Juan, I've given up on calibration frames. So with the 2600, I have gone away from darks and flats, and I couldn't be happier. I tried doing darks again, and it didn't add anything. I was hoping that maybe it would help with the weighting of the images and pix and sight, but it didn't seem to make any difference. So no more calibration frames for me. Just good sensors are all I need. So this was with Meade 70 millimeter. It's a f5, so 350, and then the ZWO MM Pro. I forget how many hours I had in there. There you go. A little bit of RBG stars and some SHO and used a colorization method. Let's see if I can find one of these other ones. All right, and so like Don, I'm in a crescent in bubble phase. And so I took this, really wanted to capture the soap bubble. And so I got a lot of oxygen data on there so I can get the soap bubble. But it made a nice crescent as well. The background wasn't as nice as I wanted. So then I tried processing it again, and I pushed the oxygen to the back, which made for a nice background, but I kind of lost my soap bubble. It's in there. If you look real close, still there. Mm-hmm. But I mean, this is 350 millimeters, and I'm impressed with the detail you can catch for these small pixels on these cameras. And those are the two I have.
Amazing.
Okay, very good. Anybody else? No? Okay. All right, so I thank everybody coming tonight, especially you, Juan. Thanks for showing what your startup is up to. And one thing to let everybody know about, of course, is that the next meeting on let's see, where are we? October. It would be the weekend after the eclipse, so 19th, right? So October 19th is our next meeting, and that is our, it'll be our quarterly imaging target challenge, which is imaging the objects within the, what was it, the summer triangle. The summer triangle consists of Vega, consists of Altair, and finally Deneb, all of which are in the constellations of Cygnus, Gila, and Lyra. So when we set out to put this idea together, as far as this area of the night sky that encompasses the summer triangle, we were talking about imaging objects within Cygnus, Lyra, and Aquila, but also encompassing the constellations that are sort of like packed in the middle. Those being Vulpecula, which its most well-known deep sky target is the Dumbbell Nebula, and then Sagitta, which be kind of a cool wide field shot. It also has a globular cluster within that. I think it's M71 that's in there, and somewhere in there, within the Summer Triangle, is the nice asterism that a lot of people talk about, the coat hanger coat hanger cluster. So anyway, yeah, next meeting is the quarterly target challenge. Summer Triangle, Cygnus, Lyra, Vulpecula, Sagitta, Aquila, those constellations. Go out and hunt for objects in there you like to image, and we'll take a look at, see what everybody's got for the next meeting. Now, something I brought up talking with Naveen and Steve, and I think Juan was here already also, is that the next meeting is the 19th, but the weekend before, like I said, is the annular eclipse. Obviously, we're not going to have the Ring of Fire out here in North Carolina, but the moon's going to cover up a pretty good sized portion of the sun, at least probably around 50%. It's going to reach the meridian, I guess you would call it, of the sun, and that'll be on the 14th. So what I'm getting at is that the 15th on Sunday, I propose that we all get together and do another processing session, and we all should have something to process. And in the event that Saturday where the eclipse occurs, if it was clouded out, no big deal, because later on that week is where we show our images for the Summer Triangle Imaging Target Challenge. So another processing session I was thinking about doing is on the 15th of next month. So would anybody out there be interested in participating in that? It'll be the same place as usual over at the Brick House on Hillsborough Street. Anybody? Any takers? That'd be interested.
Yeah, I'll come.
Okay.
I'm going to
I'll come as
Staunton River, but I don't know when I'll be back. If it's going to be crappy weather that weekend, I'm definitely in.
Well, if it's crappy weather, then we're not going to have any eclipse stuff. Thanks for jinxing it. Okay.
But that's
All right.
15th is a Sunday, so Staunton River is going to be pretty much over anyway. So
Yeah, it's also a question of
I'll
how
be out
tired.
of town this time.
Okay.
I'll be in Florida.
Okay. Yeah, just throwing that out there, and I'll announce it out on the Groups IO and Discord later. So, okay. Naveen, you can stop recording. So, thanks for coming tonight, everybody.
okay.
Take care. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.